Wake up with Matt in the morning.
Hey guys, I'm Matt of Matt in the Morning, and I'm super excited to have you guys here because today we're doing beef stroganoff in the Instapot. Now this is going to be the first Instapot video I'm bringing to you guys. It's one of those things I don't use the Instapot that often. I love to use it. I don't know why I don't use it more. Maybe we'll have to change that. But today we're going to do a beef stroganoff. And what's great about this dish is it's all in one pot. So as far as dishes go and cleanup and all that, super simple. And the other thing is, and I'll point out in the video, is we use cubed beef, we use diced up onions, some minced up garlic, and all that you can get pre-diced and sliced and minced and cubed to make this thing even simpler. I know a lot of people love beef stroganoff, but maybe they're like, you know, it's after a long day at work and all the meal and all the prep I got to do to even get it started. They tend to not do it during the week. So if you have an Instapot or you're thinking about getting one, you're going to really enjoy this dish here because it's super simple and it's really delicious too. So yeah, I don't know what much more I can say about it. Oh, I would like to mention that for those of you that don't know, maybe you don't have one of these, just because it says Instant Pot as the name doesn't mean it's done in like 2 seconds. A lot of people think, oh, well, it says 12 minutes on high pressure. And I say that because that's part of the instructions for this one. But 12 minutes doesn't mean as soon as you close the lid and hit on that it's going to take 12 minutes. It still has to come up to pressure. And once it comes up to pressure, then it starts. So, you know, and it can take up to, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, 10 minutes maybe, to come up to pressure. So I just want to point that out because I actually know people who went out and got one of these things because it was on sale for Black Friday or whatever. And we'll post like, oh my gosh, it says Instapot, but it took just as long as any other dish. Yeah, it's not an instant meal, push of a button, boop, it's done. But the nice thing is, like with this dish, it's all in one pot. So I mean, you don't have to have 50 million dishes out. And the other thing is you can cook frozen meat. So let's say you got home and you had a chicken dish you wanted to do. Great, get out the pressure cooker. Doesn't matter if it's frozen or not, this will get it thawed out and cooked in no time. So I just want to point that out because I don't want anybody to go out and buy an Instapot and think, you know, oh my gosh, you know what? This isn't instant. So anyways, of course, for those of you that do have one, you're like, yeah, I know, just get to the recipe. Like, what are you talking about? So, anywho, let's just get right down to the kitchen and check this out. Oh, and if you haven't already, I know you have, but if you haven't, be sure to subscribe down below to see each video we bring out each week. And I will have more Instapot and Crock-Pot ones coming out, too. I've just decided that. So anyways, hey, thanks for being here. Let's just get on down to the kitchen.
All right guys, hey, welcome down to the kitchen. So today what we got going on is we're doing a little something different. We're doing a meal in the Instant Pot. And we're doing beef stroganoff. It's gonna be delicious. So keep in mind the directions and ingredient list, it's all gonna be down below in the description. So don't worry about if you're like, wait, how much of that did he put in? How long did he do this, that, and the other? It's all gonna be down there for you. So let's go ahead and get started. So right here we have our stew meat, 2 pounds of it, and we're gonna put about half of it in. So right now we got let me back up. We have the Instapot set to saute. That's step 1 in here. We got about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in here, and we're gonna get this brown on all sides really good. Gonna do it in 2 different batches, because if you put 2 pounds in at once, it's just a little too much for it. You could do this on the stove separately if you wanted to. That's one of the nice things about the Instapot is most of the dishes, a lot of them that I've done anyway, you can do right here in one pot. So why dirty a bunch of dishes if you ain't got to? So it's just gonna take about 3 to 4 minutes per batch. 2 batches of it, and then we're gonna set this aside. So while we're doing this, I just want to say that with the Instant Pot, some people tend to think, now for those of you that have one and you use them, you already know. But for those that don't, let me just mention that just because it says Instant Pot, it doesn't mean the stuff's instant. I've had people say, hey, we got one of those Instant Pots, and it still took just as long to make whatever it is. Instant Pot doesn't mean super duper fast pot. But here's the thing, you can do, in the Instant Pot, you can do frozen chicken. Let's say you got home from work and you had a chicken dish you were gonna do and you said, oh my gosh, I didn't take the chicken out. It's still frozen. That's okay, pressure cooker is gonna do it. So there are things that, yes, it is a lot quicker to do in here. But don't get your head wrapped around thinking Instant Pot means if it says, oh, you're gonna do all this on high for 9 minutes. It don't mean just 9 minutes. And here's why I say that is you have the pressurization process. You know, it can take up to 15 minutes just to come up to pressure. Once it does, at that point, that's when the time starts. And some recipes say to slow release. And you'll see what I'm talking about when I get the lid on here. Basically, a quick release is you flip this button, I'll point it out to you, and it'll quickly release the pressure in a few minutes. Or there's a slow release where you just let it sit and let it naturally, the pressure release. And that can take, you know, another 10, 15 minutes. So just don't get your head wrapped around thinking this is going to be the quickest thing ever, because it's not always. So anyways, we got round one here's about done. Just trying to brown this stuff. Trying to not get it everywhere while I take it out. And then we're gonna do round two. So I'm not gonna bore you with browning up round two. I'll bring you back as soon as I'm done with this and we're gonna go to the next step. See you in a minute. All right, welcome back. So we got the beef browned on all sides. Got it set aside. We're ready to get to the next step, which is adding the garlic cloves, onion, and mushrooms. Yes, I was looking over there at the recipe. So the recipe calls for 3 cloves of garlic and 1 onion diced, and the garlic minced. So 3 cloves to me means 6 cloves. And you might be looking in here thinking, wait a minute, that doesn't look like a whole onion. It's kind of embarrassing, but it's true. Anyways, 8 ounces of mushrooms, 1 whole onion you should have, and 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 cloves of garlic. We're gonna toss this in here. We're gonna let this go for 3 to 4 minutes. At that point, I'm gonna whisk in 2 tablespoons of flour till lightly browned up, get it mixed in. Then we're gonna drop down, I believe it's a ½ cup. I'm sorry, it's a 1/4 cup. It calls for a 1/4 cup of dry sherry. We don't have that, so you can substitute that for apple cider vinegar. So 1/4 cup apple cider vinegar will go in. Let's get them little crunchy bits off the bottom. Everything good and incorporated in. And again, notice we're using 1 pot here. We're not dirtying up a bunch of dishes. Could you? Sure. You could do the beef in a pan, cast iron skillet, whatever. You could do the veggies like we're doing now in a separate pan. You could. You could do all that and just use the Instant Pot just for the pressure cooking capabilities. I don't know why you would. I'm not. So we're just gonna let this go for another minute. This is gonna be a really good dish, guys. Oh, let me back up. So we like to find, especially doing like stew meat, like you're gonna cube it up, you might as well just buy it already cubed. Why not? But if you had some beef laying around and you're like, man, I gotta use it, go ahead and cube it up. I also like to buy the mushrooms already sliced and diced. It's all about making life easier. You know, after working all day, coming home, I want to have a good meal, but I don't want to spend 3 hours prepping to then spend an hour cooking. It's just too much. So ain't nothing wrong with buying pre-diced and sliced and cubed, etc., etc. We just got to get everything put together. So, okay, I think at this point I'm good to go. To get this flour in like so, 2 tablespoons, guys. I'm gonna switch over to my little whisker here, my little whiskeroo. Oh yeah, this is needing some. If the pot would quit spinning on me. All right, we got it mixed up there. Let me just double check. Yep. We're gonna stir in the apple cider vinegar or dry sherry or whatever substitute you have. Get all that crunchy goodness off the bottom. That good and stirred in. Just like so. Now next we're gonna stir in beef broth. We have 3 cups of beef broth ready to rock and roll. Already measured out, I'm gonna drop that in. I do already have 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire already in with the beef broth. That's going in. Oh, and the beef. And the beef, people. Main part, in my opinion. So we're gonna drop that in. We're gonna set this to high pressure for 12 minutes. And then when it's done, after those 12 minutes, we're gonna do a quick release. So at that point, when I come back to show you the quick release, at that point I'll talk about what you would do for a slow release, which is really just do nothing for a slow release or hit the button for a quick release. There you go. So let's go ahead and get our 3 cups of beef broth dropped in. And the beef. And the beef. Beef. Bam. Go. Get it stirred up a little bit here. Get it all mixed in. And I did some salt and pepper to taste just at the very beginning. And please keep in mind that you can always add salt and pepper later. You can't take any away. So you never want to get too heavy-handed with the salt or any seasonings. Trust me, I've done it. Don't tell my wife, but it's true. I've done that. So there we go. Boom, boom. At this point, I need the lid. Need some standby music. How are you gonna do a video on an Instant Pot and not get the lid out? That doesn't make any sense. I don't know, guys. So, if you can see this on the GoPro here, we have venting and sealing. Before we start, you always want to make sure you're on sealing or else it's just gonna go, go, go. So, manual, what do we say, 12 minutes? 12 minutes, pressure's high. That's it. I'm gonna let this thing go. It's gonna build up, do a 12-minute countdown. As soon as this thing beeps, I'm gonna bring you guys back and I'll show you the venting process. See you in a minute. All right, guys, so it's been in here on high pressure for 12 minutes. It just beeped, we're good to go. So the instructions are vent it. We're not doing a slow vent, we're doing a quick vent. So right here, we have our little knob that's pointed towards sealing. And you got this little button right here. It's all the way up. That means this thing's under pressure. So for a quick vent, you're just gonna flip this thing. So again, notice the little button right here. If you can see past the steam, the little button right here is still up. So we're still under, not no mo. Now we ain't under pressure. So the next step in this process is the most difficult step of all. Gonna add a 12-ounce bag of egg noodles. We're gonna stir it in. We're gonna put the lid back on, set it on high for 5 minutes. See, difficult. So then just to let you know what we're gonna do after that 5 minutes is up and this thing beeps on us at us again, we're gonna do the same thing. Release the pressure. Actually, let me get this going while I'm yapping. We're gonna put it back to seal. Manual. Set this for 5 minutes. Bum, 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 bum. Let it go. So, like I said, once this thing does come up to pressure, 5-minute countdown and it goes off, we're gonna quick release again, pop the top, and we're gonna add 3/4 of a cup of sour cream, mix it in, and dish it up. We're gonna be ready to go. And it calls for some kind of garnish on top, some parsley. Don't have any. So we're actually gonna use some fresh chive that we have growing in our garden. We were low on onions anyways, so chive just makes sense to go on top with that. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'll bring you back once it's time to do that. I won't bother you with a quick release again. I did wanna show you guys that just because that's a critical part. Quick release or slow vent. Make sure in an Instapot recipe, any pressure cooker recipe, make sure you're paying attention to the quick vent or slow release, quick release, however they word it. That's a critical part of the cooking process and what you're doing. So anyways, I'll be back. All right guys, and just like that, it's been 5 minutes. Again, I did the quick release. Just push the thing over, step back, let it release. The little pin is dropped. Ta-da, good to go. Let's go ahead and give it a stir here. Man, guys, this is looking good, smelling good. Final step, 3/4 of a cup of sour cream. And then it's just ready to serve. So let's get this dropped in here and mixed up. We'll get this thing plated and I'll show you the final product. You know, and this really didn't take too long, guys. It was, especially if you get everything, the stew meat already cubed up, you get the mushrooms already sliced. You could even go and get the onions already diced, and I don't know. Oh yeah, you could get garlic too already minced up. So you could get a lot of these ingredients where it's already prepped for you. So it's get home from work and do it to it. So actually we're gonna do this a little different, guys. We're just gonna dump the whole thing out. So, you know, you just have the, again, Instant Pot, but when it says do your first step at 12 minutes, it still has to come up to pressure. So 12 minutes isn't just 12 minutes. It is what it is. So get everything plated up here, looking good. Again, I'm topping with chives. You can do it with parsley, that's what the recipe calls for. But that's up to you. Whatever you got. I can slide stuff out of the way, folks. We'll show you. And bam, boom, it's beautiful. Makes this giant dish of beef stroganoff. It looks good, it smells good. I know it's gonna taste good. And baby's gonna like it too. Bring it up here, So that's what we got, guys. Beef stroganoff in the Instapot. It's fairly quick, super simple, and it's gonna be delicious. And you get enough here for quite a few people. It's only 2 of us and a baby. So we have leftovers coming up. Anyways, thanks for watching. Again, if this video was helpful to you, please give it a thumbs up, comment, like it, share it. And I know you already have, but just as a reminder, you can subscribe right down below. See all the videos we got gonna be coming out. We drop one every Sunday. This week was a little off because I had audio issues, but we're gonna get back on it, one a week every Sunday. Stay tuned.